Hey, what's up, guy? How's it going? Hey, Ben, how are you doing?
Good.
Ben's doing good. How about you? Sorry to hear that. Ben was asking me about my film cameras, so I figured instead of talking to Ben about my film cameras, why don't I show you guys some of my favorite film cameras. How's it going? It's your boy Brick down on the overhead shot. This is weird, this is new, this is uncharted. Let us know if you hate this or if this is cool. I don't know if you want to get into film photography, usually what you'd find is a Canon AE1 or a Pentax K1000. Those are really common as student cameras if you're taking like a photography course or a film course. But I have a selection of cameras over here that I want to share with you guys because Ben asked me what my favorite camera was, which we'll save for last. Here's this is a Honeywell Pentax Spotmatic F. Great camera if you want to start out in film because of the F. Oh wait, here we go. Oh, I'm a mess. Two Honeywell Pentaxes. This is the F model and this is the standard model. And the only difference you'll see here is this one has a hot shoe mount where this one does not. The F stands for flash. Fun. So let's put this one aside. On your typical film camera, you'll see stuff like your shutter speed and your apertures on the actual lens. This one goes down to f2. Ooh boy, and it's filthy. Don't mind that. But these are super common, super easy to find. Oh, this one doesn't have a lock? Here you got your what do you call it? How many shots you got left? You see that? You see that number going? This one actually has a color balance. I don't even know how that works, TBH. I don't know how that do on a film camera. This is a pretty inexpensive camera. I think I got this for 15 bucks at an antique store. And I think it had film in it. Here's some shots from this camera with this lens. Aren't those pretty? Next up, one of my more used cameras for portraits back in the day was this little setup. It's a Pentax ME Super. Don't know what that stands for, couldn't tell you. But this bad boy behemoth is a 210 millimeter lens with a little collapsible hood. Ain't that cute? This is an f3.9, but you'll notice it's got a P on there. Oh, Brick, hey, yo, Brick, what's that P for? I'll tell you, bud, program. This is a bit more complex of an old-timey film camera. You'll notice it's got an L, that's for lock, and an auto, and an M, and a 125X, and a B. Boy, if you don't think I ain't gonna explain all them to you, you're dumb and you're wrong. L is for lock, duh. It locks the shutter so you don't throw it in your bag and hit the button. Auto is what this P for. Auto, it automatically does your shutter speed and your aperture, which is a pretty cool, nifty thing. M is manual, and on this you'll notice it has two buttons. On most cameras you'll have a little dial for B for bulb all the way to 1000 shutter speed. Ooh-wee. On this, you actually have two buttons that you press up and down to choose your shutter speed on. 125X? What is that? 125X is if you're shooting with flash. Because back in the day, if you ever use like a disposable camera or like a Polaroid or something, usually they just shoot at 125 shutter speed. Back then, flashes didn't have do I have a flash in there? I don't. Flashes weren't too complex unless you had a really fancy studio flash. Yeah, so 125 was kind of the, this is where flashes work. So you got a 125, and then it's got a bulb mode. This camera actually has film in it still. So that's a wasted shot right there. Let's see if I can, this is gonna get cut out.
Are you sure about that?
Bulb is for when you want to take a super long exposure. And usually you'd use something like, shwing, this bad Larry. These are pretty common thread size. I think they had a standard thread size. So you'd screw this in, right? And then you'd go, it would take a picture as long as you held the shutter down. And then when you'd release the shutter, this is for kind of old-timey cameras back when there was no settings or anything, and you just kind of figured like, I gotta take a 3-second exposure. So you go 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. But you know, cameras are better than that now in the 70s. So this is kind of my portrait setup, but if you'll notice the body on this camera is really, really small. If we compare it to like a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller, super compact. Good boy. So when you have a big ass lens on, it's kind of toteable. So those are just some examples of film cameras. I'm really awkward when I'm just talking to a camera and I'm not talking to my friends, huh? This is really lonely. I don't like doing this. I miss my friends. Here's my favorite. This is a Mamiya MSX 1000, and I have taken some of the best pictures of my life on this camera. Look at this one. This is one of the best pictures I've ever taken. It's one of my favorites. Took it on this camera. Not this lens. This lens ain't my favorite, but it's a pretty good lens. It's a kind of uncommon lens. You usually see like 24, 35s, and 50s. Then you jump up to like 85s usually. This is actually a 55mm lens. Kind of neat, kind of uncommon. But other than that, I couldn't really tell you why this is my favorite camera. I think it's because this is the biggest. If you look at that, it's really big. It's a really big camera, and it feels really nice. And look at oh, small. It makes my hands look. That's it. There's nothing, I don't know why I like this camera so much other than it's just big. There's nothing really crazy special about it. Most film cameras really aren't that much different. Like if we just, this one's for posterity. Oh, also real quick, this is screw mount lenses. M42 screw mounts. Nobody does screw mount lenses anymore. That was kind of a wonky thing, huh? Yeah, but like the difference between a lot of film cameras aren't that much. Like if you look at the difference between these, usually stuff's just kind of in different places. You got your film winder here, hot shoe, winder, shutter. Is this a screw mount too? Oh yeah, this one's a screw mount too. There's not much difference between old film cameras. It's mostly just certain features. But then you get like fancier cameras like these, which you got. This one has you adjust your shutter with the buttons rather than the dial. This is my favorite just because this is one of the first film cameras I got that was really good. It takes really nice pictures, but that's kind of up to the lens really. It's kind of like cameras, digital cameras today, where you know you got your like a T3i, T4i, T5i, T6i, whatever. They're all basically the same. They just have kind of minute different features. Like I have a Canon 20D, which is an APS-C sensor, and then like a T5i, which is also an APS-C sensor. You take pictures with both of them, if you use the same lens, they're gonna look basically the same. They just got different features. Different films, different lenses, kind of the same for cameras today. You get different sensors or different lenses, and I mean the body really doesn't matter. That's just all features and fun stuff. Mainly on old film cameras, you kind of go for a hand feel. If you have something like this, it feels like a little mini camera. Like it's your whole two hands, whereas you got the Mamiya, which is a big bulky boy. I like the Mamiya. It's big in my hands, and it feels nice to use. Let's see. That's dumb. We're not even gonna try that. Here's a gem. This is the Elan 7 NE, which means I don't know. But this is kind of bridging the gap between DSLRs that you'd see nowadays. You can kind of see it's a Canon. You get a lot of the features you would on DSLRs today. Oh, I still got batteries in this image. Hell yeah. But this is more when, mid-2000s started rolling around and people wanted, like, one-shot, AI focus, AI servo, like, autofocus. And look at all the shooting modes that you probably recognize. Like, this is basically a T2i, but film. This has something called eye control, which means you look through the viewfinder. I don't know if you can, Oh, this camera's built in flash. I didn't even know that. I've never used this camera actually. It was more of a, you know, your normal autofocus points. Hey Ben, put in like an autofocus grid here, and then keep it there for a hot second. Usually you would select an autofocus point. So like if you have like a little thumbstick here, usually you could select like between this one or one over here or one over here. So this camera has an autofocus grid of one in the center, one above it, one below it, and then two on the side. And you'd look through the viewfinder, and if you pointed your eye over here, if you look through these ones, it would select that as an autofocus point. And it had eye control, so wherever you look, that's where it would focus. I don't know why they stopped doing that. I don't really understand how it works. It was kind of a weird niche thing. It was pretty cool, kind of cool technology. But I mean, that was kind of the late 90s, mid 2000s when everyone was trying some really weird stuff with all sorts of technology, like mini disc players. And you know what I mean, there's a lot of weird, because everyone realized that like cassette tapes and film aren't going to be around forever. Let's try weird stuff. So yeah, these are some of my favorite film cameras. If you're interested in shooting film, hey, leave a comment down below. Once in a while you can find a camera at like Savers or Goodwill with film still in it, and that's always a fun treat. Hey, look at some of these pictures from my trip to New York. Just kidding, these are pictures that were in a camera that I bought from Goodwill. What a fun adventure shooting film is. I think you should get out and shoot film. Shooting film's really, really fun. I guess it's a little difficult. It's not difficult, it just takes some time. Your first picture will probably be bad, whatever, you'll figure it out. You can find these cameras dirt cheap. I mean, not the Hasselblad so much. That's, you spend a couple thousand. But all these, the rest of these cameras, they're all bought at thrift stores, antique stores, super, super cheap. And you can get out there and shoot. And it'll look good, throw them on your Instagram, get some hella street cred, bada bing, bada boom. Hey, leave a like down below and shoot a comment, please. I love comments. Shoot a comment. If you shoot film, leave a comment down below. Is there anything I missed? Should I have said some other not dumb stuff? That's whatever. Stickers are in the shop, videos on the tube, TVRBO.com. See you next time.